There are many different actions that Donald Trump administration will try to fulfill in the following year. During his presidential campaign, he did more than 100 commitments to the American people. Some of these actions and policies affect countries like Mexico, the deportation of more than 11 million people to build a wall between countries, block remittances, increases by 20% tariff for Mexican exports, modifying NAFTA, and take American companies back to America. Some of these actions may now affect the aspects of aggregated demand.
The exchange rate of the Mexican peso against the dollar has increased exponentially, affecting the consumption of American goods and services in Mexico due to the rising prices. If the Mexican peso depreciates, Mexican consumers lose purchasing power because many of the goods are imported, which increases inflation. On the other hand, the deportation of Mexicans affects the consumption by increasing unemployment, which increases savings and decreases consumption because of reduction of consumers' confidence. Also, if Trump blocks remittances, then Mexican families will stop consuming because they're not receiving any income. For last, if he takes American companies back to America, he would cause that millions of Mexicans get unemployed, which would cause Mexican consumption to decrease. Trump modifies NAFTA or builds a wall, he will be affecting both countries. Exportation and importation will decrease, which would affect investment in Mexico. If firms say their products can be exported or imported easily, then they will decrease their investment in Mexico. This last event will also occur if he decides to take back American companies to America. American economy will be affected as many American firms have to move their factories to places where the land or labor are more expensive. They will have to produce the same goods and services but at higher cost. As for the GDP, in the case of the United States, this variable will increase because the goods will be produced in the United States. In the contrary, GDP in Mexico will decrease as less investment in goods will be produced in Mexico, increasing unemployment. As we can see in the graph, as firms will stop outsourcing, they will have to pay more to produce the same goods in a
Government in Mexico. Mexico will be affected by the block of remittances. With more unemployment and poverty, the government will have to use more money to give to the less fortunate communities, which will increase government deficit, causing inflation because they will have to print more money. So now most of the money is going to be spent on taxes, more people will need to use their negative savings, and less people is going to be using their actual savings. Meanwhile, the government will need to help the less fortunate communities. External sector in Mexico, the reformation of NAFTA, the dropout of TTP, and the increase of 45% of tariffs in Mexico will be decreasing and affecting the flow of money. Since NAFTA was signed in Mexico, exportations to USA represent 81% of the total exportations that Mexico does every year. The beginning of the year, the demand for American products will be almost as 2006, but as time goes by, due to the policies, the demand will decrease.
If President Donald Trump is able to do all the proposals that he made, the Mexican society will be drastically affected in the economic and social sector, as the Mexican GDP will decrease because of the lack of foreign investment and the creation or maintenance of some jobs that were previously given by some foreign firms. Because of this, the unemployment will grow in Mexico, and the government will need to impose more taxes so that it can maintain the poor. As a result of this, the purchasing power of Mexicans will decrease, as well as the import of American goods, and the Mexican exports will also reduce.